Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Amobi Okugo, host of Money Talks, a new podcast from a frugal athlete in partnership with Billion or Bust Media. Money Talks explores the world of business behind professional athletes. I speak with financial advisors, business managers, marketing and PR professionals who specialize in running the business of being a pro athlete. Tune into Money Talks on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find new episodes on billionourbustmedia.com and afrugalathlete.com. Again, billionourbustmedia.com or afrugalathlete.com.
Good day, folks. Welcome to the 2 Cents Podcast. It's your boy, Jay Richardson, host of this fantastic podcast, which I love. It's been a cool week. Got a chance to record a special episode for you guys earlier in the week. For those of you who follow on Twitter or IG or whatever, you got a chance to see a little bit of that content, a couple clips. It's going to get really good. But today is a special day, for the 2 Cents show, I will say. And that's because there were breaking news stories kind of all week, but the biggest one, and it's something I'm going to dive into last, is the NCAA finally grew the hell up and did what they should have done years ago and put, the ball in the court of the athletes now and gave them an opportunity to earn based off their likeness. And that wasn't meant to be a pun, but they got the ball rolling on this, right? Because we know what this is going to be 5-6 years from now. It's going to go into something different. And the NCAA knew they had to do it, and I don't want to get too much into it because I'm going to talk about it later on in the show. First, housekeeping stuff, folks. I got to go through the NFL news and notes. Got to let you guys know what's popping out there because there's a lot of interesting things happening, and then we'll go through the NBA notes just because, it's a week into the season and things are shaking up very interestingly, and we all knew this was going to be an amazing NBA season just based on all the offseason acquisitions and trades and free agency moves. The powers have shifted, and I cannot wait to discuss a little bit about how things are starting off. But first, the NFL trade deadline is upon us. It is here, and there were some moves made, a lot of moves made. Actually, sometimes it's hard to predict NFL trade deadlines every year. You're never really sure, is it going to be a lot of moves or is it going to be no moves? And some years, it seems like a year where there's going to be a lot of moves and there's no moves made. And then some years, it seems like a year where moves need to be made, and, tons are or sometimes none are. 2019, a lot of moves were made at the NFL trade deadline. I'm not going to get into every single trade or whatever. I'm going to mention a few and tell you why they're important. The first one is going to be Mohamed Sanu is going from the Atlanta Falcons to the New England Patriots. That is a big move. Sanu was one of the more consistent wide receivers in the NFL. Fantastic hands, known for his professionalism and catching the football in traffic. He's tough. He's a smart receiver. Hence, Bill Belichick likes that, and that's why he will be a Patriot. Tom Brady actually reached out to him in his DMs and offered him the 12, right? He said, Muhammad, you wear 12 for the Falcons. If you want to wear my 12, I'll give you my number. I don't know that Tom really meant that sincerely. I think Tom was just saying it because he knew Muhammad would gracefully decline as he did, because who wants to go to New England and wear Tom Brady's 12, man? That is blasphemous. That's like wearing MJ's 23 in Chicago with MJ on the team. It would never happen. That's too much pressure for anybody. But it was nice of Tom Brady to make that gesture. This is a big move because not only does it mean a lot for Sanu and the Patriots, they get a quality receiver who will move the chains for them. But this kind of means that they don't feel good about Josh Gordon. Something's going on with Josh Gordon. A lot of people don't know what's happening with Josh Gordon. We're told it's a lower leg injury, and the moment he is eligible to be healthy again, they're going to either release him, which is interesting to me. Josh Gordon even chimed in via Instagram passive-aggressively, albeit, when the NFL's page put up that the Patriots was going to put Josh Gordon on IR until he's healthy enough that they're probably going to release him. And Josh Gordon put up some emojis kind of like saying basically that he is healthy and that this is a strange move. This tells me more about what the Patriots are trying to do looking forward. I don't think they trust Josh Gordon. I think they think he'll either relapse or he's, damaged goods, or there's something there. Something's wrong. And I think more will reveal itself in the future. other moves. Marcus Peters from the L.A. Rams to the Ravens. He's not even all the way healthy yet. He is still a good defensive back. He's still a good cornerback. He's not, who he was 2 years ago. But I feel like, this move would be a bigger move if he was healthy and was playing well. However, the Ravens did need a little help in their secondary. And later on in the season, like late November, December, this will be an important move. So I like it. Defensive lineman Leonard Williams, former first-round pick of the Jets, they are trading their first-round pick like literally 50 miles down the road to the New York Giants. This move is inconsequential, right? You got a bad team trading a good player to another bad team. Sorry, Leonard, you're still going to suck no matter who you play for, Jets or the Giants. And the good thing is you don't have to move, right? Like these teams are like 70 miles apart. You can stay in your same house and do your thing. The Cowboys tried to make a play for Jamal Adams, actually the safety for the Jets. Everyone for the Jets, by the way, is available. It's like a fire sale for the Jets. You can get any Jets player you want to for the low. On the low, you ain't got to put them on layaway. You can just go get them. So make sure if you're someone out there that wants a Jets player, even if you're not an NFL team, if you're a basketball team, you want a Jets player, they're available right now. Jamal Adams was on the trade block. They could not get that deal done with the Cowboys. Le'Veon Bell from the Jets is also available for trade. That's the latest news out of New York is they're all available. But Le'Veon Bell is available, which is surprising. Yeah, it's a big contract, but he's still a top-notch back, even though his numbers this year are struggling. Everyone in the New York Jets jerseys numbers this year are struggling, so that's not something that's exclusive to him. The Washington Redskins are ready to trade Trent Williams after his long holdout all season long. A lot of people believe he's the best left tackle in the NFL. I know he's the strongest and the most athletic, man. The kid's a monster. I played against him. Good God, those are problems I don't want. And it's interesting he held out, and the Washington Redskins just did not prioritize getting a deal done for him, and now they want to get rid of him. It's probably too late, but it's just like, what on earth is going on in Washington? And it's just further proof that, the Redskins as a franchise and their leadership, Daniel Snyder on down, has just been completely inept and embarrassing. Last but not least, Andy Dalton heads for the Pine. That's right. The Cincinnati Bengals are finally benching Andy Dalton. Some say Marvin Lewis should have did it years ago, but guess what? Marvin Lewis ain't there no more, and the Bengals are still god-awful. So you can't blame him anymore, Cincinnati fans. Your team just sucks. And now Dalton's going to the bench. Former 3-time Pro Bowler, former $100 million contract guy is going to be on the bench. No one's paying him that kind of money to sit and watch a rookie go out there and try to lead this team to more losses. That'll be interesting. I guess it was past due, but his numbers are down. Everything's down. Their team is bad. I don't even know. I've never been an Andy Dalton fan. I never thought he deserved the money he got. However, this really isn't his fault. AJ Green, best receiver that they have, hasn't been available. He's been out there just, no offensive line, just kind of running around trying to stay alive. And now he can watch his backup try the same thing. That'll be funny. The NFL week has been a exciting one. It was really cool to see Aaron Rodgers light it up again because he was my fantasy football quarterback. So yeah, I kind of really needed that, and that was fantastic. He did his thing. Christian McCaffrey did his thing. Now I'm talking a quick little moment of fantasy football just because, I'm involved now. When I was a player, I couldn't play fantasy football, and that was such a interesting dynamic to now be able to, be in these leagues and get involved with friends and play. And do I have an unfair advantage? I don't know. Maybe. I know the game. I kind of know who's going to play well. I have an idea. But reality of it is, you draft who you draft, and you got to, see how they do, and I'm having fun. It was really nice to see Mike Evans play very, very well as well. He killed it. And this week in fantasy football, I think, Aaron Rodgers versus the LA Chargers defense right after they just fired their head coach, by the way. Another big story. The Chargers fired Ken Wisenhunt. It's kind of a big deal. And the Chargers weren't living up to their expectations. Everyone thought with Phillip Rivers back, the receiving core, which has been kind of beat up by injuries, but still the guys you had, and should have had Melvin Gordon if you would have paid him and got him in there early. They thought they could really make a push. You got, Joey Bosa at defensive end, along with Ingram and all these guys who can rush the passer. And they just thought with that defense and with Phillip Rivers, this was kind of his last year to make it happen, or at least he got this year, next year to make something happen before he'll have to ride off into that sunset with his 19 kids. You really thought they were going to get it done, and they didn't. And now the head coach is gone, and they're trying to salvage the season, and I just don't see it happening. But Aaron Rodgers will pick them apart, and that'll be a big fantasy move. I know I wasn't going to talk fantasy football, but here we are. Lockett against Tampa Bay's defense. I think that's a safe bet. And then I got Kittles, tight end Kittles for the San Francisco 49ers going against Arizona Cardinals. Oh, yeah, he's going to light that up. So I should have another good week of fantasy football, but back to the important stuff. NBA news and notes. Only got a couple, but just some things that stood out, right? NBA season just got underway last week. The LA Lakers, who I'm riding with because I'm a LeBron fan, whatever, get over it. I really wanted them to start off hot against the Clippers, and they did not. They got beat by the Clippers in the fourth quarter. LeBron did not take over like I thought he should have. He was way too differential. He was trying to pass, and he was making the right passes, but that's not what we want to see. We want to see you, LeBron. Well, since then, LeBron's really got going, right around his averages numbers, in the mid-20s, rebounds and assists, everything's kind of where you expect it to be for LeBron. The surprising, it shouldn't be surprising because we all knew this guy was going to be a monster, but man, Anthony Davis is an absolute monster, and now you put him with LeBron, who can get him the ball, pinpoint accuracy in all the spots he likes to have it in, and you have a problem with that pick and roll. That high pick and roll, it's like pick your poison. If the defenders don't respect LeBron's, drive into the basket, he will go right to the rim and try to tear it off. If you do respect that and you're late on rolling, or if you're late on defending the rolling Anthony Davis, all LeBron's going to do is toss that thing to the sky, and no matter where it is, AD's going to catch it and finish it at the rim. He's been throwing him half-court alley-oops. It don't matter. The other night, AD went for 40 and 20. There hasn't been a Laker who had 40 and 20 since Shaquille O'Neal. That is how dominant AD is going to be. However, AD is nursing a shoulder. You watched the Clippers game and Montrezl Harrell, a lot of other guys, they just get physical with him because he, as skilled as he is, he's not a banger. He's a finesse big, right? He's a stretch forward that can shoot, that can finish at the rim gracefully. He's a slender fella. He's not like, I'm sure he has a gym membership, but he don't look like he's that big. So he's not someone that's going to be just banging down in there and taking that beating week in and week out. That brings us to my next point. The Lakers have to make a real decision. What's more important? LeBron's being able to go in the playoffs when you really need him, or AD's health in the regular season. And I think you really can't get Kuzma back fast enough because you're going to need some more pieces that are going to pick up the scoring. You cannot count on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. KCP I expect him to be traded by February just because he's stealing. $16 million he's getting paid, and he might as well have had a ski mask on because he's just not doing anything. How is he a Laker? If he's a Laker, I should be a Laker tomorrow. And I'm actually taller. I could probably do more for the Lakers than KCP. That's just coming from the heart. That's real. Brooklyn, we have a problem maybe? I don't know, right? Kyrie starts off the year with Kyrie numbers, man. Opening night he had like 50, and then he went for like 28 and then 30 something. I mean, he's a scoring machine. We always know, if nothing else, Kyrie gonna put that ball in the hole, and he's got the best handle in the league. Not known for his defense and not known for being a great guy in the locker room. He's just known for scoring the basketball and making people look really, really stupid with playground moves. By the way, he tried a game breaker 2K move for the game winner in the opening game of the season and almost hit it. And he's a psycho for even trying that, but that was pretty dope, even though he missed. Anyway, the story out of I guess Brooklyn right now, and Jackie McMullen on ESPN broke the story, is that I guess Brooklyn officials say that Kyrie's, I don't want to call them violent mood swings, but his mood swings have been a problem, and it's making teammates and the officials there, quote, uncomfortable. People hate being uncomfortable. By the way, I don't know, that must be a cultural word. I never hear black folks talk about how something makes them uncomfortable. So I can imagine who these officials were, and that's okay. I just think it's an interesting point to make that word uncomfortable. Like, I wonder what he's doing that's making anyone so uncomfortable. A lot of Kyrie worshipers have defended him, but I've always said, as much as I love Kyrie's game, I don't know, like, the dude's an asshole. He's got to be, because all you got to do is stay in Cleveland with LeBron and go back to another finals, and you want it out of there so bad, just so you could ride the pine and try to get healthy with the Celtics, only to get finally healthy and not produce for them, only to end up in Brooklyn, where you get to be the star of the show until, I guess, KD comes back. But now you're still the same unhappy, miserable dude. And I don't know, there's something to be said about these miserable guys who are making these millions of dollars doing something that they love to do, something that they used to do for free. Now you're making millions doing, and you're still miserable. And I get how, to the average Joe, that can seem ungrateful. I guess what I'll say as an athlete, money that is not going to make you all of a sudden make your life make you happier from the inside out. There's a lot of miserable people. You sprinkle $1 million on them, they're going to be a miserable millionaire. And I guess that's just how life goes. But in regards to Kyrie, it's like, dude, at some point, people got to realize he might have a chemical imbalance. He might need some medication, whatever. Roll one up and smoke it, whatever you got to do, Kyrie. But you got to chill out, bro. It's a long season, and when KD gets back, he's every bit as sensitive and emotionally volatile as Kyrie. This could be either an amazing thing that galvanizes the two of them, or this could be an explosive combination 2020. So that we got to keep an eye on. But all that's over with now. It's time to get to the most important news of the week, and I want to really kind of get this right and explain to everybody what's happening with this news. The NCAA finally, looked at what California was doing with their legislation, passing that bill allowing players to earn off their likeness. They looked at 12 other states that were like, we're going to do the same thing, the great state of Ohio included, and they were like, okay, even though just a month ago we were ready to sue the state of California for passing that bill, or I guess they were going to go into court to fight it, which is ridiculous, that they finally just said, you know what, we have to stop fighting this, because if we fight this, we're going to become obsolete, and that's the truth. NCAA is fighting its own existence right now, and they realized they got to move with the times, otherwise the times are going to move past them, and they'll be gone. And so they did it, right? The Board of Governors got together, and the NCAA voted that all collegiate players, all of their athletes in every sport, not just the main two, every sport, are now allowed to make money off of their likeness. This is a critical thing, and it comes with a handful of caveats, right? Like all new breaking rules and like all change, no one wants to change completely. They want to stick their toe in the water, and then maybe their foot, and then the ankle, and then they get the whole leg in. They're not going to just dive into this thing, right? So, yes, these players yes, these athletes are now allowed to earn off their likeness. What does that really mean? It basically means if I'm, oh goodness, I can't think of a better example because he had such a good week last week. If I'm Chase Young and I'm the top college player in the country, right? Like I'm the best college football player in existence on earth right now. Everyone's going to want a piece of me, right? And everyone is going to want me to, make appearances or sign autographs or, show up wearing their clothing, apparel. Hell, it might be a car dealership that says, Chase, man, we really want you to come and do an appearance at our dealership, and in return, we will let you drive this Cadillac Escalade all quarter long, and we'll switch you out to, I don't know, a Tahoe after that if you would like that better. I don't know. The point is, these are all opportunities that these athletes can cash in on, right? These are now nothing that they have to run from or hide or just turn down. I say hide because, let's be honest, this stuff was happening for the last 60 years, but it just had to happen a certain way. You had to be real quiet about it. That's just the reality of it. So here are a couple of the caveats that this new rule comes with, right? So the NCAA obviously voted this rule will go into action 2021, which means nothing changes next year. But 2021, everything's going to change. But some of the caveats are, there's guidelines, right? Like you have to assure that the student athletes are treated similarly to non-athlete students unless a compelling reason exists to differentiate. That's a really dumb thing to even write. It basically means you got to treat this athlete just like you would a regular kid unless there's a real reason not to treat them the same. Well, there's a lot of reasons to treat the athlete a little bit differently than you would treat the average student, and that one I think is null and void right away. You have to maintain priorities of education and the collegiate experience to provide opportunities for the student athlete's success, meaning you gotta continue to push the athletes to stay in line with with the criteria that keeps them on the field, which is you got to keep above a certain GPA, but that's normal. And you have to continue to, when they say prioritize education, I guess what they're really just saying is the athletes still have to stay eligible. Well, duh. And also, the school has to continue to give them educational opportunities, which, like I said, the first two don't make any sense. Those weren't even necessary to even say. Those are dumb. This one, you have to ensure that the rules are transparent, focused, and enforceable, and facilitate fair and balanced competition. That one, again, what is fair and balanced competition? If I'm Chase Young, the top player, on my football team and in the country, then I'm going to have more opportunities to earn off my likeness than if I were the true freshman who's the third stringer who's probably going to redshirt or not going to play the entire season. Well, no one's going to be beating down that kid's door asking him or her to come and make an appearance and for money or a new Escalade, right? Like, that's just not going to happen. So right away that's not fair and balanced, but it is fair and balanced competition, meaning competitively, that kid came into Ohio State with every chance that any other kid comes in to work hard in the weight room, get on the field, make plays, and earn a chance at, opportunities. So to me, just based on that, I think, we all know the rules, so there's the transparency, and, we all know that the competition itself should be balanced, or pretty much is balanced walking in the door. And honestly, when you include genetics in that, the competition will never be balanced because that's just what it is. You have to make clear that compensation for athletics performance or participation is impermissible. What does that mean? That means you cannot compensate the athletes for their performance on the field or can't be performance-based compensation, which is, I know it sounds dumb or sounds strange because when you say compensation is not performance-based. Well, of course it is. If you're not playing well and you're not a good player and everyone's not talking about you, no one's going to be reaching out to you to make money off your likeness. That's that simple. However, what they're basically saying is if I am that car dealership, I can't say, hey, Chase Young, if you get 4 sacks, we'll let you use this car for 4 more months. Or for every tackle for loss you get, we'll give you $400. You can't do that. That's not a legitimate or that's not a permissible, that's just not a permissible practice, right? That's not going to happen. So I get that one. That one I guess makes sense, but here's the problem. If Chase Young, if you do get those 4 sacks and you do ball out, I bet they're going to let you keep that car for a little bit longer anyway. I bet you're going to be called in to do more appearances to make more money. So what kids need to learn right away early on in life is everything in life is performance-based, unless you just come from money and don't have to work or something like that, in which case, enjoy your life. Now, you have to reaffirm that student athletes are students first and not employees of the university. That's one they're serious about, right? You don't want these athletes coming to this school thinking, I'm just here to play sports and make money, because that would make you a quote-unquote professional. Here's the problem with that one. And I've always had an issue with this. Anyone that knows me knows I hate that term, student athlete. Now, when I say that, people are going to be like, oh, whoa, are you anti-education? Like, you went to Ohio State, you graduated, you got your degree, you're an educated guy, you had great test scores coming out of high school. Yeah, I know, I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that. So they're going to say all that, right? That's not, I don't hate education. I love education. But I also love being transparent, and I also love being honest about what's real, right? You can't call them student athletes. You have to call them athlete students. Why? If I'm at Ohio State on an academic scholarship, I'm a student, right? Like I'm truly there because if I did not have the grades I had, if I was not good in class, in school or whatever, I wouldn't have that scholarship, right? If I'm at Ohio State on a full athletic scholarship and my job is to play a sport, otherwise I no longer will have opportunity for that scholarship, what am I? I'm an athlete student, because without the athlete, you couldn't be a student. So let's stop acting like these are student athletes. We have to prioritize, class and school first. That's more important than the athletics. No, it's not. You know how I know? Because if that kid started playing really awfully, and this is what people don't know about scholarships, is you have to renew them every year. Meaning your scholarship is not a 4-year scholarship or a 5-year scholarship. It's a 1-year scholarship, and it gets renewed every year. 90+% of coaches are going to renew most kids' scholarships, but every now and again, and Urban Meyer did this to a couple kids during his tenure at Ohio State, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just part of the business, because it is a business. People forget that. A kid, won't be playing well, performing well. Urban thinks, man, kid, you're never going to play here, and I want to free up a scholarship opportunity for the next recruit that we're trying to bring in here. I'm not going to renew your scholarship. You'll have to go to a different school, or you can stay here, but you're not going to be on scholarship. That's a real thing. So, no, they're not student athletes. They're athlete students, because if they don't nail the athlete part, they won't have an opportunity to be a student, and that's just the facts. And here's the thing. If coming out of high school, they were just great students, but poor athletes, they would not be there playing a sport on scholarship. So let's stop pretending. Just stop. We got to stop pretending and start being honest. And if I'm an athlete first and a student second, which is just the truth, then I need to start treating myself and handling my affairs accordingly if I'm an athlete. I need to prioritize the weight room. I need to prioritize film study. Yeah, I got to stay eligible. Yeah, I want to go for my degree if I can get it while I'm there. Those are bonuses. Let's just be honest. Those are bonuses. The first step and the first thing most kids want to do is be the best athlete they can possibly be, because 99% of them would love to play at the next level, right? You want to have a chance to go pro. If you want a chance to go pro, you have to give your all in your sport while you're there. You can't give it your all in your sport while you're there and, try like hell to be an academic All-American. Some can, and some do that, and that is unbelievable. But most have to prioritize one or the other. You can only give so much energy out in a day, and that's just real. That's reality, man. Like, that's just real. And I'm going to have another podcast where I really dive into this topic and concept of specialization when you're heading to college, because I think people think that athletes are so different than any other kid. A kid going to Ohio State on an academic or on an athletic scholarship because they want to pursue being in the NBA or being in the NFL or being in the NHL or whatever is no different than a kid saying, I want to go to law school, or I want to go to med school, and I want to be a pre-med there, and then I want to go on to be a doctor. Why? Because that's your dream, is to be a doctor. Well, then you're gonna have to go to the best school you can for doctors, and you're gonna have to go and get all your years in. You're gonna have to prioritize every class that involves what it is you want to do and be really, really good at it. And then when you get done, after your 7 years of school, or you do your residency, all that stuff, how it works out, you have a chance to be a doctor. That's how. If you want to be a doctor, that's like the course you take. You want to be a lawyer, you got to go to a good law school if you can. If you want to be a good one, you got to go to a good law school. You gotta get all your years of education in, and then you got to go take the bar exam and you got to pass it. Right? That's how you become a lawyer. So if I want to be an NFL player, what do I have to do? I have to go to a good school that produces good NFL players. I got to work my butt off in the weight room. I got to work my butt off in the film room, get really good at my job, play really good in the games, and then you might have a chance to be in the NFL. Like, it's the same process. Yet we give kids crap who are athletes who want to execute the process of going pro. Well, he's just so focused on football, he just forgot about his grades, or you can't put all your eggs in that basket and all that stuff. The kid trying to be a lawyer put all his eggs in that basket, right? He went to all the classes, he did everything he had to do, and he focused just on that. He wasn't in the weight room, right? So now his body might be looking a little, dad bodish or sloppy. He wasn't working on his health, so maybe he has health concerns by the time he gets done, going through all this schooling and bar training and all that stuff, getting ready to take that exam. Like, other aspects of this person's life might suffer because they're selling out on their dreams to be something, right? That's not abnormal. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to put all your eggs in that basket and go for it. But we don't give that kid going to law school, crap about it. We're not saying, oh, why are you putting all your eggs in that? What if you don't pass the bar? Now what are you going to do? What's your plan B? No, but we say that to athletes all the time. It's such a weird thing that we do. Everyone is chasing something. Let them chase it, and chase it with everything you got. Because you can't half-ass that one. Like, you got to go for it all the way. So I didn't have a problem years ago when Cardale Jones said, I didn't come here to play school. I came here to play football. Everyone gave him so much flack for that because it's the optics, right? It's the PR. It's a bad look for your starting quarterback to say that if you're the school. I get that. But let's not act like he was wrong. Like, let's not act like that wasn't a sincere thing he said, and that we don't support what he said. We support it with our dollars, right? We donate tons of money to athletic programs via tickets to games, right? When was the last time someone said, I'm not going to buy a ticket to a game. I'm going to take this money I was going to spend on this ticket to the game, and I'm going to give it to the athletic department. I'm going to give it to the, to the African American Studies department, because they need it, to come out with some new coursework for these kids, because I care about school first. Stop lying. Y'all care about the sport. And guess what? So do the kids. So don't give the kids crap when it's the truth for them, too, because they care about it. It's okay. Sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry in this country. So let's just be honest about it. And that's all I'm saying. I don't like the hypocrisy of everything that goes on with the system. NCAA are the biggest hypocrites of all. They've made billions over the years, but they don't want these kids to have to make money, and they want to cap their dollars. There's some people saying that, should there be a cap on the dollars? Are you kidding me? Should there be a cap on what a kid can earn being himself? That's himself. That's God-given. That's whatever him or her is, and whatever they've worked hard in the weight room, or in these games to become. If someone wants to offer them $1 jillion for it, they should be allowed to take it. That's their right as an American. That's the most anti-American, anti-capitalist thing I've ever heard someone say. Should we cap these kids' earning potential? Are you crazy? We don't do it when Tiger Woods was going pro at 16, and he had chances, to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in tournaments at 18 and 19. No one said, well, should his dollars be capped? No, that's the American way. And then the other thing they'll bring up is, well, what about taxes? Like, these kids got to learn to pay taxes now. Like, why put that on them? Why put that on them? What do you think happens when you become an adult in America and you're working? You pay taxes. Or are they exempt? No, they're going to pay them too. Should they not learn this lesson? Yeah, but what if they screw their taxes up and they owe at the end of the year? Then that's a fantastic lesson to learn at 19. You know when it's not a cool lesson to learn? When you're 38 and you just made your first $1 million because you were in a movie or something, or because you got a new job and you didn't realize that your tax bracket is different. You should have gave more, yada yada. Before you know it, you're getting hit with a crazy tax bill, right? That you don't want to learn that then. You want to learn that in college, where you're in that safe environment. Why can't these kids learn these tough lessons when they're still in that safe, protected environment? That's the best time to learn it. And by the way, they should teach taxes in school anyway. Why is that not like a part of every high school curriculum? Like, they should teach taxes. Like, anything that you can go to jail for, you should educate people on, right? Because we're like, what are we doing? What are we equipping them for? And then the final thing, and there's plenty more that people have said, because I opened this debate discussion up through Facebook the other night, because I just was curious as to what people wanted to discuss. And there are folks that are literally like, well, won't that be unfair, like, to the kid that's not getting these opportunities on the team? Won't that kid kind of resent the star player, right? Like, the star player is getting all these opportunities to make money, and there's another kid that's not making the money. Won't that make that kid sad? Are you crazy? What world do people live in? Like, really, I know I asked that question facetiously, but I really mean that. Like, what world do people live in where everything's fair and perfect? The reason that there's so many damn kids on anxiety meds is because they grew up in a home where their parents told them everything was going to be fair and perfect, and they were amazing. And they got into the real world and realized nothing's fair, nothing's perfect, and they are far from amazing. And next thing you know, they need a script for something to make them feel better about themselves, a pill. That's y'all parents' fault. Seriously. This world's not fair. Like, let it go now. Accept it. It ain't fair. It ain't fair for minorities. It ain't fair for sometimes immigrants. It ain't fair sometimes for white people. It's just true. Everyone has biases, and there are always going to be situations where the world's not fair. So let's just get over that right now. So if you tell me I don't want my son to go to this school because they have kids in that school making money, and I don't want my son to feel sad if he's not making money, you are raising the softest son you could have possibly raised, and the world's going to eat him up and spit him out if he can't handle that. And oh, by the way, there's already guys who are jealous of other guys on their team right now in college football. That's part of the game, right? That's part of life. There's going to be someone doing better than you. You might feel envy. That might, that feeling, emotion might creep into your spirit. Yo, you got to get that out. You got to get that jealousy out of your heart. It's a weak emotion. But I think we have to start letting kids learn these hard lessons now. Otherwise, they'll become ill-equipped adults. And what have we really done for them? That's half the problem in our country now. We're not equipping people for success. And part of being equipped for success is going through the tough stuff when you're younger. But this will be a fantastic rule. The NCAA is doing a great job, and they are on the right track finally. It won't stop here, folks. You heard it here first. This rule will be expanded, and there will be more. And 10 years from now, there will be a system to be able to pay these players. I promise you that much. That is all the time we have today for the 2 Cents Podcast. I want to once again thank all of our listeners for liking, for subscribing, for sharing this with their friends, family members. I love these discussions we're having. I want more people to chime in. I want more people to reach out to me via Twitter or IG. Jay Richardson99 on Twitter, Mr. Richardson on IG. Reach out to the 2 Cents Show on IG. Send in your questions. If there's a topic that you want to be discussed on here, if there's a guest who wants to be on the show or a guest that wants to discuss something, look out for that. I got some really cool stuff coming for you guys next week. It involves television. I'll talk more about that when time comes. In the meantime, have a good day, folks.